France in the late 18th century, a nation teetering on the edge of monumental change, a land of unparalleled beauty, rich in culture and brimming with immense wealth. The grandeur of its palaces, the sophistication of its art, and the opulence of its aristocracy painted a picture of prosperity and elegance. Yet beneath this glittering surface, a storm brewed, unseen by many but felt by all. The winds of change were beginning to stir, whispering of discontent and unrest. The French monarchy, decadent and increasingly out of touch with the common people, seemed oblivious to the growing suffering and frustration. The lavish lifestyles of the nobility stood in stark contrast to the hardships faced by the majority. The French Revolution, a seismic event that would not only shake the foundations of France but also send shockwaves throughout Europe, was on the horizon. The cries for liberty, equality and fraternity were growing louder. King Louis XVI. The year was 1789, and I, King Louis XVI, found myself at the center of this brewing storm. I, a well-meaning but indecisive ruler, struggled to navigate the turbulent waters of political and social upheaval. My attempts at reform were too little, too late. Marie Antoinette, I, the extravagant queen, became a symbol of the monarchy's excesses. My perceived indifference to the plight of the people only fueled their anger. The French people, burdened by crushing taxes, widespread inequality, and a lack of representation, were ripe for rebellion. The streets of Paris echoed with the voices of those demanding change. The seeds of revolution had been sown long before, nurtured by years of economic hardship, social injustice, and the Enlightenment ideas that championed the rights of individuals. The stage was set for a dramatic and transformative chapter in history. French society was rigidly divided under the Ancien Régime. This system, deeply entrenched for centuries, created a clear and unyielding hierarchy that dictated every aspect of life. The structure was designed to maintain the status quo, ensuring that power and privilege remained in the hands of a select few. At the top, the first estate, the clergy, exempt from most taxes and wielding immense power. They not only controlled religious life, but also had significant influence over political and social matters. Their vast land holdings and wealth allowed them to live in luxury, far removed from the struggles of the common people. The second estate, the nobility, privileged and wealthy, further distanced themselves from the plight of the commoners. They enjoyed numerous privileges, including exemption from many taxes and exclusive rights to hunt and hold high offices. Their opulent lifestyles were funded by the hard work and taxes of the third estate. The third estate, comprising everyone else from wealthy merchants to impoverished peasants, bore the brunt of taxation. This diverse group included the bourgeoisie, who were often well-educated and wealthy, as well as the vast majority of peasants and urban workers who struggled to make ends meet. This vast majority, denied basic rights and representation, yearned for change. They were burdened with heavy taxes and had little to no say in the governance of their country. The Enlightenment ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity began to take root among them, fueling their desire for a more just and equitable society. Resentment towards the privileged few festered within the hearts of the third estate. The stark contrast between their daily struggles and the opulence of the first and second estates became increasingly intolerable. This growing discontent was a ticking time bomb ready to explode at any moment. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. The tension between the estates reached a boiling point, and the call for revolution echoed through the streets of France. The old order, once seemingly unshakable, began to crumble under the weight of its own inequities. The French Revolution was on the horizon, promising to reshape the nation and alter the course of history forever. France teetered on the brink of economic ruin. Years of lavish spending by the monarchy, coupled with costly wars, had drained the treasury. A series of bad harvests exacerbated the situation. Grain prices soared, leaving the poorest segments of society struggling to survive. Revolutionary bread riots became commonplace. Desperation filled the streets. The economic woes fueled the growing discontent with the monarchy. The people of France, hungry and disillusioned, demanded change. In a desperate attempt to address the crisis, Louis XVI summoned the Estates General. This assembly, representing all three estates, had not met for over 170 years. The Third Estate, sensing an opportunity, demanded greater representation. They argued for a system where votes were counted by head, not by estate. King Louis XVI, I hesitated, siding with the privileged classes. Revolutionary, frustrated and enraged, we, the Third Estate, took matters into our own hands. We declared ourselves the National Assembly, vowing to create a new constitution for France. The revolution had begun. The spirit of rebellion swept through Paris. Rumors spread like wildfire that the king intended to crush the nascent revolution.
On July 14, 1789, a mob descended upon the Bastille, a symbol of royal tyranny.
The storming of the Bastille, a bloody and chaotic affair, marked a turning point. The people, armed and defiant, had tasted power. The revolution transitioned from words to action. The old order was crumbling, replaced by the unpredictable forces of popular will. The revolution, once fueled by hope and the promise of a brighter future, descended into a period of unimaginable violence and pervasive fear. The Reign of Terror, orchestrated by the radical Jacobins, sought to eliminate any perceived threats to the revolution. This period was marked by extreme measures and a relentless pursuit of ideological purity, leading to widespread paranoia and suspicion among the populace.
Thousands of people, many innocent of any crime, were sent to the guillotine. The swift and brutal nature of these executions instilled a deep sense of dread throughout the nation. Families were torn apart, and communities were left in a state of constant mourning. The guillotine, once seen as a symbol of justice, became a harbinger of death and despair.
The streets of Paris ran red with blood, a grim testament to the chaos that had engulfed the city. Even Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, symbols of the old regime, met their demise at the hands of the revolution they had unwittingly unleashed. Their executions were meant to signify the end of tyranny, but instead, they marked the beginning of a new era of terror and uncertainty.
The revolution, consumed by its own fervor, had become a force of destruction. What began as a quest for liberty and equality devolved into a nightmare of relentless violence and retribution. The ideals that once united the people now served as a justification for their suffering. The very fabric of society was being torn apart by the relentless pursuit of revolutionary ideals.
The revolution, consumed by its own fervor, had become a force of destruction. The fervent cries for justice and freedom were drowned out by the sounds of chaos and devastation. The dream of a better future was overshadowed by the harsh reality of the present, leaving the nation in a state of turmoil and despair. The Reign of Terror had transformed the revolution into a monstrous entity, devouring everything in its path.
From the ashes of the terror, a new figure emerged, Napoleon Bonaparte. A brilliant military strategist, Napoleon seized power in a coup d'etat. He promised stability and order, captivating the French people weary of chaos.
Napoleon's reign marked the end of the French Revolution. He crowned himself emperor, effectively ending the Republic.
Though a dictator in many ways, Napoleon preserved some revolutionary ideals. His legal reforms and military conquests left an indelible mark on France and Europe. Section 8. Liberty, equality, fraternity, the legacy of revolution. The French Revolution, for all its bloodshed and chaos, left an enduring legacy. It enshrined the principles of liberty, equality, fraternity in the hearts of people across Europe and beyond. The revolution challenged the very notion of absolute monarchy. It demonstrated the power of the people to rise up and demand change. Though Napoleon's empire eventually crumbled, the ideals of the revolution lived on. Section 9. A new France, a new Europe. The French Revolution shattered the old order, paving the way for a new era. Feudalism was abolished, replaced by a society that, at least in principle, valued equality and individual rights. The revolution's impact reverberated throughout Europe. It inspired movements for independence and reform. The French Revolution served as a stark reminder that power ultimately resides with the people. Section 10, the French Revolution, a catalyst for change. The French Revolution was a watershed moment in human history. It marked the end of an era and the birth of a new world order. Though the path from monarchy to republic was long and bloody, it left an undeniable mark on the course of Western civilization. The revolution's ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity continue to inspire struggles for justice and freedom to this day. Section 11, remembering the revolution. The French Revolution serves as a potent reminder of the complexities of revolution. It highlights the intoxicating allure of radical change, but also its potential for violence and tyranny. As we reflect on this tumultuous period, we are reminded that the fight for freedom and equality is an ongoing struggle. The legacy of the French Revolution continues to shape our world, urging us to strive for a more just and equitable future.